Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. We have some breaking news coming out of Miami today as they land their sixth commitment in the 2025 class, in tight end Luka Gilbert from the state of Ohio. And obviously it's early. We really don't know what Miami's recruiting class is going to shake out to be. If history's any indicator, kind of think it's going to be really good. It'll probably be in the top 10. Frankly, I think as long as Mario Cristobal wants to stay at Miami, that's how they're going to recruit, because you look wherever he's been, that's been his MO. I mean, this guy, he can recruit. He's done that at a really high level. The other Miami coaches, they seem to be doing it at a really high level. And this program, obviously, when it's going in the way that you want it to be going, that's a program that attracts a lot of top talent. So, again, sitting at 17th in the national recruiting rankings right now, I think you have almost no doubt that they're going to finish up there. Again, you even look to last year. I mean, started off a little slow to a lot of Miami fans. Towards the end of the year, they really get hot. They start landing some flips. Justin Scott, Armando Blunt. I mean, some really big-time gets towards the end of the class. So I just, again, don't think you have any doubt about what this Miami team is going to be on the trail. And Luka Gilbert, obviously, a nice start in 2025. So before we get too deep into what Luka Gilbert actually brings to this Miami football program, we just wanted to thank everyone for all their support, especially the Miami fans. I mean, the amount you guys interact with the channel, how supportive you guys are, truly does mean the world. So, again, if you like the content, please consider subscribing, liking, commenting, all that stuff. It really does help us out, and it really doesn't go unnoticed. We know how much the Miami fans support, and it truly does mean the world. So, thank you guys again. And getting into the player that is Luka Gilbert, I mean, the first thing you look at and what you're looking for in tight ends is that size. I mean, that 6'7", 233-pound frame. Probably feel like he's going to play in that 250 to 260-pound range at the college level. But that is exactly what you're looking for in your modern-day tight end. And obviously, I think that starts with having the ability to run or catch the football and also block. And that's of the utmost importance in the Miami offense, as they're starting to kind of lean into that physicality and being one of the more nasty, powerful football teams in the country. And this guy can do it. I mean, you look at his film from high school, a lot of the highlights come off of what he does in the run game and how he blocks, and he can do it. He can line up in line with the tackle, move guys around off the line of scrimmage, does a really good job in space, blocking onto moving targets and getting a hat on a hat. But I think the big thing that stands out, frankly, more so even than just the pure play, is the want to, the attitude that he needs to have. And frankly, you watch some of these young Miami freshmen from last year come in, you need that attitude, it feels like, to play at Miami. I mean, Francis Mauigoa probably exemplifies it the most. I mean, how tough he was, how physical, how nasty, all those things you're kind of looking for offensive linemen. I mean, he had it. And you flip over to the other side of the ball, Ruben Bain, kind of same thing, just powerful, physical, heavy-handed guy, really presented a problem for a lot of offensive linemen on opposing teams. I mean, this Miami team is really starting to build physical, and when you're recruiting that tight end position, I think you need guys who play like Luka Gilbert and have his type of attitude. And the fact that he can catch, I mean, you obviously need to do that as well, and you kind of see really good hands. That's what kind of stood out to me, being able to catch the ball off of his shoe tops and use his hands and catch the ball, not catching with his body. Some of those things you see younger players doing. And as he continues to fill out and get a little bit more athletic and get a little bit smoother in and out of his breaks and in his routes, I think you're looking at a guy who can become a really dynamic pass-catching threat. In addition to that blocking piece that we already said, it's so important for this Miami team. In getting a little bit more into what Miami is building, I mean, it's starting and stopping with their physicality on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And I think that's a fair criticism you could have made for Miami for a long time, it feels like, since some of those really good Miami teams, and whether it was the early 2000s, late 80s, early 90s. I mean, yeah, those teams had a lot of skill, but they were dominant up front. I mean, you think of guys like Warren Sapp and some of those offensive linemen that they had coming into the NFL as top picks. You just didn't really see that for a long time with Miami. And you kind of look at what Mario Cristobal is building. I mean, you got two guys, I think, in Ruben Bain, in Francis Mauigoa, true freshmen who look like they're going to be first-round players. I think he's making an obvious emphasis to re-put some emphasis on that style of play, and I think it's working. I think it's what's making Miami really tough to play with anymore. And I love the direction they're going. And that's why I think adding guys like Luka Gilbert to that tight end room is huge, because that was one position I think they really didn't get as much production as you would have wanted to see in 2023. He just didn't have that tight end they could rely on play in and play out to be that all-down tight end. And you're starting to see them build that pipeline up with guys like Elijah Lofton and now Luka Gilbert in 2025. And that's going to be huge, just because, again, what we kind of talk about is this Miami team is making an emphasis to run the ball, put the ball on the ground. And that means you need good tight ends. You need your tight ends to block. You need them to be physical. And then you also need them to be weapons out of the backfield if you're going to play that type of way, where you're not going to necessarily have 5 receivers on the field or 4 receivers on the field on a given play. So you need your guys to be versatile. You need them to be physical. You need them to be able to catch. And I think that's what Luka Gilbert's kind of, just his film, what he can be. He's that type of guy who can play the way I think Miami needs him to play. And again, as we mentioned, that's kind of the one thing that felt like it was missing at times from this Miami offensive skill group. So again, with him, Lofton, some of these young guys, I think you're excited to see what Miami can do with that position as they continue to build their offensive line and be a really physical offense. So again, I think it's important to have tight ends. That's why I like how they're adding Luka Gilbert, adding guys like Elijah Lofton. I think it's huge. I think they need it. And this is obviously a really nice start for this Miami 2025 recruiting class. So that's all we had for today. Just wanted to thank you guys again, and we'll see you later.